So we're going into the Hoodman League here. First Hoodman League of 2021. An absolute powerhouse of violence coming at us here. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
Like, you want to talk about two killing machines. Like, you know, this is kind of the concept that Who Would Win of the Week was based off of, but we wanted to put our own spin out of it. But we also wanted to bring the heat coming into 2021. So we have Django from Django Unchained versus John Wick from John Wick. These are two absolute. This is going to be a battle. I don't know what's going on in your head, but I don't even know what's going on in my own head.
Mm.
But I want you to start, and then I want to start because I just want to tell you where my dilemma is.
Okay.
My dilemma is that I love both of these movies a lot. And I think that the general public may come out hot siding with John Wick.
Yeah.
But I think that's a big, like, people would really be underestimating Django. They're both just violent motherfuckers. And I know that John Wick is like the best assassin of all time. But Django, I mean, he was in a time period where he should have had virtually no rights, and he became rich, saved his wife, and just killed whoever he really felt like along the way. I think that they both have the same type of motivation. Django's ultimate goal once that movie starts is to find his wife, right?
Mm-hmm.
John Wick, so like that's his motivation. John Wick also likes to kill people that do things to the things that he loves, whether it be his dog, his car, whatever. So maybe a little less heartfelt motivation, but in his eyes, it is still motivation. And to have any type of heart, I guess, as an assassin is very difficult. So props to John Wick for that. All right, Andy, take over. Go into what you think. Let's start talking. Let's start talking one-on-one fight here.
Yeah.
I also can we say one thing?
Okay.
Is this a situation where at the same exact time somebody hands John Wick a piece of paper and Django a piece of paper and like puts it out on each other? You know what I mean? But they're in separate places of the world, so it just becomes whoever
right, so
they're gonna find each other and kill each other.
Let's just say they just are in the same place and
they just decide they want to kill each other.
Yeah. Just maybe they don't like each other.
And I think you rule out guns.
Ruling out guns changes
or
everything.
Or do not rule out guns? I'm asking.
I think you should keep in guns because I
like that. I think all weapons then, right? Knives too.
Oh yeah, knives and everything. But that's a fascinating point because if it's no weapons, then it's John Wick all the way. Because John Wick has got that, like he's got that martial arts background. Like he's really good at hand to hand.
But you have to remember that Django was also a slave who got beat so he could take it. Mm-hmm. And he also several times, or at least once, beat somebody to death in the movie, correct? Like with his bare hands?
I don't remember him beating somebody.
I one of the brothers, I thought he like beat him. I could be wrong. I could be just mismashing. But yeah, I think weapons, just because they both have that type of assassin background.
Right, for sure.
I mean, although I guess Django wasn't technically an assassin, but he was like a bounty hunter.
Yeah, he was a bounty hunter.
Right?
Yeah.
So they're both, not only trained to use their weapons, but also expecting to have to fight people that are also equipped with some type of weaponry.
Yeah. So what I want to say is that look at what Django did just in the 1800s with 6-shot pistols. He killed
And he was a good shot,
a
too.
great shot. That's the thing.
That one scene where the guy gets away on the horse and he just picks him off. You know what I'm talking about?
That when he, I mean, that scene when he shows back up to the house after his partner gets killed, and he just starts blowing people away.
And he's laying under the
Yes,
dead body, just shooting. Yeah,
crazy.
and that guy just keeps getting shot, screaming. Yeah, it's a good scene.
It's an unbelievable scene, and it goes head to head with any super violent scene in any John Wick movie. And Django takes out an unbelievable number of guys in that scene alone, and he did it all with the technology of the time. So what I'm saying is, if you give Django the
modern day technology,
modern day guns,
I think that puts him. I think that puts him on the same level as John Wick.
100%. That's
okay. That's what
that's
you're saying.
what
I didn't know if you were going to say that. Yeah, because John Wick is proficient in.
Like, if you could shoot as accurately as Django did with those guns, I mean, there's no way you'd miss anything with what they're coming out with these.
But days. John Wick, yeah, and John Wick is the same way.
Yeah.
So, but that's the other thing, is that they're also both smart in the sense where the chances of them giving each other a clean shot is rare.
Yeah,
and I think that for both of them, a bullet anywhere to the head means absolutely nothing. It does not faze them at all. You know, I mean, eventually, yeah, but like,
right.
In that period of time in which they're fighting, anything but a kill shot to the head isn't going to deter them right away.
Yeah, well, the pain tolerance on both of these guys is probably through the
roof. They can both take a beating. Yeah. Yeah, and I think, this is tough.
It is tough. They might be so evenly matched in a firefight. I'm trying to think of how one.
I assume that it would still come down. I assume that it would still, in every, whenever, like, well, I'm going to say that Django is an assassin. Like, that's just what what I mean? He is. Because, he was a bounty hunter, but when it's dead or alive, he was just murking people. So, I think that ultimately it's going to come down to more than just a gunfight.
Yeah. See, that's kind of where I'm starting to lean as well.
And then you have to consider, I've never really seen Django work with a knife, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if John Wick has a knife, I've seen John Wick work with a knife.
Yeah. I've seen him work with a lot of stuff. So I think that, I think that they're so evenly matched in a firefight that they would both realize where this would have to go. However, let's consider this. Django's partner, who taught him just about everything, was for sure kind of a sneaky guy. Always had some tricks up his sleeve, including literally the gun up his sleeve.
Yeah. Yeah, and even when he blows up the dentist cart,
yes,
what I mean?
Yes.
No, there's definitely, which is an unbelievable scene in Django, by the way, when they're trying to figure out the mask situation. You know what I'm talking about?
Phenomenal.
Hysterical.
So I think that when it comes to either hand to hand or like a knife type of fight, I think that Django would actually bring something into it, like have some kind of little trick up his sleeve, whereas John Wick would just go in because, and rightfully so, because he just has incredible skill. Like if Django doesn't have anything up his sleeve,
which I'm sure he does, though,
right? But if he doesn't, then it's John Wick all the way. Because Django, while I'm sure he's had to fight, and like you said, he's been through a lot. The skill is going to outmatch that every single time. The skill of John Wick.
My thing is, they're both the type of guys who, and follow along with me here, who don't need to have something up their sleeve to have something up their sleeve.
Right.
Like, they would solve that problem, especially if Django, especially modern day. Like, yeah, John Wick can do that because he has modern day technology. You put Django in that situation, I think, again, it's both the same. I do think that John Wick would be considered a better hand-to-hand fighter, but you can never count either of them out. This is a very difficult fight, and my problem is that my mind is telling me that John Wick ultimately wins this fight. But I love Django. I love the movie. I don't know. I mean, it's a Tarantino movie that instantly sways me. It's a difficult choice. I guess what I have to say is, when it comes down to it, I do think that if they both don't end up killing each other at the same time, John Wick walks away victorious, but he doesn't walk away. You know what I mean? It is not going to be whoever lives isn't living comfortably at that point in time. You know what I mean? Neither of them are going down without a fight. I mean, yeah, it's so hard to tell
if either one could really kill the other.
No, because I'm trying to think. I mean, you see both of them kill just like being like one on like
just murder machines.
One verse against the world, and they're just slaughtering people. Even when and there even that scene where John Wick is just killing that group of mercenaries that's fully decked out in pretty much unkillable equipment, right? Compared to, but then, you can't really compare that to when Django's taking on a group of guys because, they might not have that technology, but Django's also not working with the technology, right? Yeah. John Wick has all of those, like shotguns and different fully automatic weapons that he figures out can still do some damage in that situation.
The other thing is, both of these guys have the demeanor to win. Both of these guys are as slick as you can possibly
back to what we were talking, like that goes back to what I was saying in the if somebody does win this fight, I don't even think that it would be considered a win, because I think that they would be halfway to a body bag themselves by the time
this is reminding me now of like Bruce Lee versus Chuck Norris.
Well,
they fought inside the movie, and it was.
I know, it's kind of nose tickle. I think,
but there was ultimately the winner of that fight,
and that's why I think I'm picking one scene out in particular. That scene in John Wick where he's killed just about everybody else, but he fights that ninja type guy in the all glass room, and I think you watch that fight and you watch the caliber. I think you have to go John Wick in this fight. And it pains me to say it a bit because I think John Wick, if you have to pick a winner, I think the safe bet is to go John Wick. But that's not to say that script could be flipped by any means. This is one of those fights where gun to, I always try to back you into a corner with the gun to your head. I think in this fight, gun to my head, I'd rather just have the person with the gun to my head shoot me than have to really pick a winner. But for the sake of the podcast, I think you have to go with John Wick. I think that it's tough. You can't really tell because you don't see Django with the equipment that John Wick has, but you've seen John Wick do it at such a. So you know what I mean. So you go John Wick, and I guess like I said, gun to your head, you have to pick. I think that you just hope for the best, and John Wick.
I
is
think
able to, find himself in a hand-to-hand combat situation where maybe they both already have somewhat of a gunshot wound.
sure some couple of scratches on him.
Yeah, they're both banged up. I think John Wick takes that. But I don't know. But again,
Well,
Django's not going to go down without a fight. Like, I think that if Django got an opportunity to get his licks in, John Wick would be in some serious trouble. Because they're both, like, I imagine that hand-to-hand combat fight, like, being like there being a point in that fight where John Wick has his thumb in Django's bullet hole and Django has his thumb in John Wick's bullet hole, and they're just squeezing to see who passes out first. Hey,
fuck it, let's just keep going.
yeah, fuck you, Craig. Honestly, Craig, you know what? Craig is. I would say that Craig might be a Hockey Canada fan. Honestly,
I bet you he is.
Yeah, fuck you, Craig, and suck at Hockey Canada.
So
you know what I mean? Like,
think.
can you picture?
Yes.
Can you picture like
Incredible
Django's
scene.
thumb in John Wick's shoulder, and John Wick's thumb in Django's shoulder, and it's just who's gonna pass out first?
Yeah.
Like that's how I see this fight ending. I don't know if this is a legal maneuver, but I think that they might kill. I think that if they're going to kill each other, they kill each other simultaneously.
I agree.
I don't think that you can pick.
If there has to be a winner, here's the thing: is that I think that if Django does have something up his sleeve, whatever it is going to win him the fight. But I feel that the logical track for this fight to go is that they ultimately do go into a more hand-to-hand style, be it using knives or whatever. And in that situation, John Wick takes it. And again, like I said, if Django's got something up his sleeve, then yes, he wins. But I just am not sure that is logically where this fight is actually going to go. I think it makes more sense that it goes in the other direction, in the hand-to-hand direction. And in that situation, it's John Wick. Because Django is, it's still going to be incredible, that fight, but Django just does not ultimately have the skills in that situation to surpass John Wick. Because John Wick is incredibly skilled in that situation. And because they're
also not easily fooled. I think that's another thing. Not easily fooled.
But if anybody's going to do it, I think Django would be able to.
Yeah. I think it's kind of decided then. I think we're both in the same page that if you have to pick a winner, you pick John Wick. But I wouldn't put the mortgage on it by any means. In fact, I wouldn't even risk my Blue Dolphin Cafe coffee mug on John Wick winning this fight. But for the sake of and I'm really curious. I think that if there was ever a Who Would Win of the Week that we can get some social media interaction on, it would be this one, because those are two huge movies, and they're two movies that a lot of people enjoy.
Yeah. Well, they're both great. Django's
I actually think that sidebar. I wish that I could go back and redo this as a three-way Who Would Win of the Week, and I would be throwing Denzel in there from The Equalizer.
Oh my God.
Could you imagine that three-way fight?
Equalizer Denzel is underrated. Because that movie...
Underrated?
Yeah, I think
he's
very
a
underrated.
god. When he sets his watch.
But that's the thing. That's not what underrated means. Underrated, I'm saying.
No, I know, but I'm just saying. But I know. I was just saying, like, he's so cool.
Yeah, he's unbelievable. Man, Equalizer Denzel. But I don't know how he would.
But either way, yeah. Let's call it. Yeah, I don't think he. I think. Yeah, I guess I don't know that Denzel has the firearms training that the other two do.
Yeah.
But if it comes into a hand-to-hand combat situation, that's not a guy that I think either of them are looking forward to fighting.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
It's like the John Wick movie where a hit gets put out on John Wick, and people are like, "Who the hell?" Like, there's not enough money in the world to try to convince me to go try to kill John Wick. You know? And yeah, I mean, I think we have to call it. There's no more.
Yeah.
There's no point. We're beating a dead horse at this point. We lock in John Wick as the unofficial winner of that fight for the purpose of the game's integrity, and we go from there.
There he is. And be sure to vote on Twitter. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, let's get talking on Twitter. You know what I mean? Let's have this debate. I don't know. I think that
sure. There's one that could definitely be flushed out even more than we have already. I agree.
Without it, you could go back and forth on this forever.